XXXtentacion's debut album 17 is out and it's doing really well, but he's still facing charges from last year: aggravated battery of a pregnant woman, domestic battery by strangulation, false imprisonment, and witness tampering. So this is with his ex-girlfriend allegedly. So Pitchfork did get a transcript of her testimony. It's very like graphic and detailed. Akademiks, did you have a chance to read through? And what was X's response to this?
Yeah, I mean, pretty graphic stuff. I mean, some of the stuff, I don't even know if we should even repeat it, but I'll try to make it a little bit cleaner for consumption. Basically, it appeared, or she alleges, that he was a jealous boyfriend, and anytime she would either look at another male's jewelry, listen to even a song that he's on but had another artist on it, and if she was interested in the other artist's verse or knew the lines, she alleged he would threaten her multiple times to kill her, slap her, kick her, also threatened to insert stuff into her. You guys should, yeah. But I mean, it's pretty graphic, and it's pretty. When you read that, it doesn't seem like someone who should be enjoying.
Did he do this shit or no?
I don't know. However,
You speak to him.
I mean, he's denied it. So he's denied it. He's denied it to me.
Right,
now I haven't gone through like, hey, she said you did this. Did you do this? He has a whole different story that she stole from him and lied to him, and then lied on him, right? So that's his story. She has a picture that's very famous around the net with her with black eyes. I don't know how she got it, right? She says that's from him. So again, it's a lot of he said, she said, but when you hear or you visualize not only the bruises and whatever else, like physical damage that was done to her, plus hear her detailing it, people are kind of shocked. But this has existed before. I think it's just at this point where now he just had a great album put out. His first week numbers were great. People are now looking back at these things to say, hey, maybe he wasn't the guy we should be championing, even as an underdog. So, I mean...
So how did he and his fans respond?
Yeah, well, X got to go through a lot of maturing, all right? Because even if these allegations aren't true and you are upset that they are going around, you can't dismiss them. You can't be like, they just hating on you, right? You got to really address the seriousness of what you're being accused of. And his response were indirect, but it was on like his little Insta snap where he was basically saying, hey, listen, if y'all believe it, y'all like are dumb, or listen, that won't stop me or whatever, in terms of like stopping success. But he's trivialized a little bit. Of course, that got a lot of people angry. A lot of people who either identify with being in that situation, being with a person who
I identify.
Abusive, right?
Unfortunately, I mean, I identify.
So I mean, identify how though? Wait.
I've been in this exact.
No, but what I mean is on the opposite side, where they're identifying with the victim. Someone abused you?
No, I've never been. I have never been abused. I have been accused.
Exactly.
Of these things. So that's what I mean by I identify. Okay. And I will say, if these allegations are true, X should seek some help.
He should probably...
X should get help.
And probably be punished. These are pretty serious shit. I'm hoping he didn't do it, because that's my guy.
Okay. I hope that he didn't do it also, because he's someone that we have championed on this show. Oh, this is a little, how do we want to attack this here? Because this is a little, do you have something to add here?
No, I want to hear your thoughts.
What do you think
Last
about
time I spoke about this, his fans on the attack.
And again, I want to be very careful how we really get into it, but I thought even if he didn't do it, right? I thought his response, as she was bringing up, was insensitive. Now,
and that is a huge mistake, one that you've made. Had to learn myself, because the thinking here, when you didn't actually commit the crime, is, well, I'm innocent and the truth doesn't need to be defended. Why do I need to tiptoe around this and be sensitive to something that kind of just fell on my lap? I had zero to do with this.
And in your opinion, or in your case, didn't happen?
Yeah, no, definitely didn't happen in my case. But you still need to be sensitive to it. Even if the charge is egregious, even if, I know in my case, and this is why it gets a little sketchy for me, because listening to what you just read, that was police talk. That was whatever the young lady said happened, the cop put it in cop charges. And I'm all too familiar with some of that.
And now she said it at a deposition. So there's 150 pages of deposition.
Okay, so now that's the other thing. Luckily for me, when that happened to me, the young lady did not go further and proceed with lies. This isn't a deposition, which means this young lady is fully prepared to go forward with a trial, with any legal proceedings, which means that she, I don't know who her attorney is, but they probably feel that they have enough evidence. And I haven't seen the pictures, I haven't seen anything. I just read the story, I identify with it, so I felt a way about it. And that was the end. I didn't see any picture, I don't know anything that's happening. I know if X is guilty of these crimes, he should seek help. I want to point that out. I want to make sure to point that out because too often we just banish people. We just punish people. We just judge people. We don't really rehabilitate here. So if he's guilty, he should be punished and he should seek help. However, if he is not, and please don't misconstrue this with thinking that I'm insensitive toward this issue. I am not. I am 100% not. However, on the flip side of this, when women lie about domestic violence, that should be a chargeable offense.
I agree.
That should be
lie about domestic violence or rape?
Yeah. If they go through this trial, and I would hope that she's not lying about something so severe, but if they go through the trial and facts come out that she was indeed untruthful, she should be charged for that. Pardon me, unfortunately, whether it's true or not, X ain't never gonna get his life back. I mean...
His fans don't seem to be very bothered by it, though.
Yeah, well, his fans, and you know, fans of anyone, whether it was Chris Brown when he was accused of a lot of crazy things, or whether it's like Michael Jackson or like R. Kelly, your fans, your diehard fans are gonna either look past it or not believe it. So they're gonna defend you. But I mean, most objective people, we see it, and there is also a counterbalance to the fans, right? The people who see the pictures or hear the story or see the deposition from the young woman, they automatically believe it. They were getting at me for being objective in saying, listen, he might have not done this. Because people are already saying he's guilty just off the accusations.
We don't live in guilty until proven innocent. That's just like a cool saying.
At least for public figures.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I mean, you are in the court of public opinion. It's really unfortunate too because just the charge, and I'm not here to decide whether shit is true or whether it's not true. Just the charge is hurtful. It's hurtful enough. He will have a hard time just wiping the slate clean, moving forward with people who believe this from him.
And I will say, and I think he's realized it over time because now he's trying to switch up how he acts, period. Because when he was coming up, and before like he was ever known, before he even went to jail and got that song, there was multiple videos of him fighting. Of course, not fighting women, fighting other males, but people kind of seeing him as violent and aggressive. Now, when they see the pictures of a woman he's been with, say, oh, he's also violent and aggressive to me, people are gonna say, well, we see your public behavior there. Why? We have no reason to believe that you would not also carry the same behavior.
Yeah, and if we're listening to the music, if I'm listening to the music and I hear this young man start telling me about how he's wrestling with his demons, how he's fighting depression, how he's got anger management problems, if I'm, don't get it fucked up. When you go in court, all that shit is submissible. So your tweets, your Instagram, your fucking songs, all of that shit. So now if you just leaving people to their own imagination to paint a picture, you've painted the picture quite well for them. Victim of your own creativity. You paint such a great picture, now it's time for us to really attach it to some shit. So niggas should really be careful, man.
And also, I believe the young woman, the fans of X and just people in general, they found her on social media. Harassing her is stupid whack, even if she's lying. Harassing her until this has fully been like hashed out in court to see who's lying and who's telling the truth. I think that is wrong, especially for victims who they're looking at this like, should I come forward because this other person did something to me, right? But I do also want to be fair to X as well. Again, me and him, we spoke personally. We never got in depth into this stuff. His side has always just said she lied.
If he's found guilty, do you continue to speak to him? And what do you say?
I would tell him if he gets found guilty, he needs to go to jail, right? Now,
I'm not
I mean,
asking.
okay, no,
I'm not
if he gets,
asking what should be done. I'm
will
asking.
I continue to be friends with him?
That's not what I'm asking
What are you
either.
asking?
This is someone who you've acted in the friend role with.
Okay.
If he is found guilty of these charges, as a friend, what do you say? I'm not talking about what should be done. I'm not talking about the legal ramifications.
Okay.
What
All right.
do you say to someone who you care about, who you have a relationship with, who may have this problem?
See, that's kind of new and uncharted territory for me.
Well,
because
that's why I'm asking.
As much as I can, I would try to help him seek help, because that's what he needs, right? I'll say this though, I'm not the person that says, hey, if you're accused of this or if you did do that. I take the music separate from these things. This is me considering him now as a person, a human, right? From all my interactions, I think he's a decent person. Never seen that side. But of course, I'm a male.
You normally would not.
I would not, right? If this is true, completely changes it, right? And if he hasn't gotten help since then, and is just masking it and hiding it and wiggling out of it with his fame and money, that's even more egregious. So again, we wait to see if these things are true, but it's a very troubling situation. It still just brings up the point, and again, I told you where I stand on the issue. A lot of people do say, hey, okay, he's accused now, but say he did it. Do we still talk about his music? Because that was a big thing for Chris Brown. People thought, Chris Brown, you're a woman beater. We ain't fucking with your music. No, we don't care if you're singing about fucking lollipops and just like sunflowers. Your music should not be then open to public consumption because you're a bad person, right? We do know a lot of musicians have a lot of issues. Should we? Right? So if he did do this, right, at that point, it would be proven in court. He's going to jail or whatever the case is. Do we still champion his music?
What does the music say? Does the music say, I've never done this before? Is the music apologetic for this? Is the music, for someone who's been so introspective, I would not expect that level of introspection to stop. So your next project, it's the same thing I sat here and I beefed with Ace Hood about when he put that song out and really didn't, he touched the surface on the Khaled shit. I'm like, yo, niggas have rode with you for all these years. We've championed you, we've supported you, we've been waiting to hear something. You can't come with that. I would say the same, bad analogy, but I'd say the same result I would look for with X. I would like to hear how you address this. I know for me, and I'll say this in closing, therapy teaches us to always look at the role that we play in things. So when that first happened with me, you know, it's so quick to point fingers. Oh, that girl has nothing to lose. That girl just wants some attention. That girl just wants some fame. That girl was emotional and I tried to leave her. And, you know, it's so easy for us to do that. But when I really just looked in the mirror, it was, well, how did I end up next to a young woman that I deem to have all of these qualities? What role did I play in her thinking that this was a good decision to make? Yeah, granted, I've never hit a woman, never touched you, but how did I make this person feel? How do I not put myself in this instance ever again? Because when this type of shit happens, I can't go to a club with Nadeska and have a great time and Nadeska leave there and say, Joe Budden hit me, and that's a luxury I can. I'm wiped out of that now. X is wiped out of that. Chris Brown is white. You are no longer afforded the benefit of the doubt. That's a luxury you just do not have. I can't be next to a girl that feel like she can even say that type of lie. For me. So I want to encourage X in this trying time to really do some soul searching. You know, your album is out, so the work is done. You've toured, you've promoted, you're selling records. I challenge you to really spend some time with yourself in a dark corner and take personal inventory. Personal inventory. These are things that nobody can speak to you about but you. Ask yourself some questions that no one can answer but you. I'm saying it's not knowing anything that happened. This is just good advice, period.
Yep, you're right. And again, if he didn't do these things, as you were saying about it, people just
Then stay away from women that say you did.
Yep. I don't know if you remember, but when we first started the show, because I heard or seen stories about what Joe Leslie did.
You pressed that early.
I asked Joe. I said, Joe, what happened in these situations? And we had a good conversation. He broke down everything I asked, every question I needed to ask, and then I ultimately asked the question by saying, "Wow, now that I have this perspective, why don't you work hard to try to give everyone that perspective if they're even open to it?" Remember how I was saying that? Mm-hmm. And you said something which was also very truthful, right? Everyone hears accusation, but even if it's not true, no one really wants to hear you go back and then put that situation.
Yo, when those allegations came out about me, it was the biggest story in hip hop. What I felt like was for months and months and months. I had the news trucks pulling up to my house. I was being solicited to answer for this shit that I didn't have. Oh fuck! I had a point that I was getting to. What did you just say?
Why didn't you work harder to change the perception? I
guess. Or at least let people know the truth. You told me some stuff like.
Oh, that's what I was saying.
And we also had that conversation about Chris Brown, and I was like, you know what? Even though we know Chris Brown's guilty, I always wondered the other details. The other details that, I mean, of course, it doesn't matter sometimes, but at least you could try to figure out what was going on with that person. Did they snap? Are they just a habitual woman beater or whatever it is? And that's where we got into that conversation about.
Well, for me, that's what I was getting to was when it happened for me, it was the biggest thing in the universe. As the facts started to get revealed, nobody cared. And I was in court for 2.5 years from the date that the young lady said what she said. See, because she could say that and just decide not to, I'll change my mind, he didn't do it, I don't really feel like, and then going about it. I'm in court in New York, and it's fucked up in New York, for 2 years fighting that shit. When it was dismissed, when it was dropped, not a word, not a peep. I couldn't believe it. 2 years of the Daily News and the New York Post standing there for this, and I have no say-so on whether they should stand there or not. You really shouldn't get in the legal system if you're an entertainer. I mean, that's really just it.
Yeah. All right, thank you guys for having a serious conversation about this. Obviously, as we know more details, and we have more information, we can talk about it. But I appreciate it.
I'm praying for the kid, man. I'm praying for him.
I think for both sides.
I'm praying for the kid and for the young woman, because she seems like she's still plagued by a lot of the consequences or aftermath of that situation, whether it be true or not.
Pray for the young lady as well. Pray for all parties involved, family too.